All right, so again, for joining us, Strategies in the Era of COVID. We have amazing panelists and speakers for you today. And I think that, if you don't have have a notebook and a pen, get ready to take some notes. This is be really informative. All right. My name is Sway Key. For those of you who aren't familiar, if we've never met, nice to meet you. There's my email. You can always reach out to me, whatever you need. We have office hours set up throughout the program for you to call in and get that on time. We are a 12-week program broken down into 3 phases: create, connect, and plan, with a final showcase at the end of the program. During our connect phase, we interact with these types of programs and companies and individuals. This is just a small snap we meet with. If Cheryl is here and ready, I'm going to go ahead and bring her up. Cheryl is a part of the American Association of Independent Musicians, A2IM, who we partnered with on this amazing event. So Cheryl, if you're there, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Sway. Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here today. A2IM is thrilled to be presenting today's workshop in partnership with the Motown Musician Accelerator program. I want to thank Sway Key for today's incredible opportunity. So as she mentioned, my name is Cheryl Cohen. I'm the Senior Director of Culture and Oversight at A2IM, which is the American Association of Independent Music. A2IM is a trade association whose mission is to promote growth, awareness, and opportunities for independent music. And we achieve these goals through government advocacy, education, and community. We are the collective voice of the independent community, which includes independent record labels, digital service providers, distribution platforms, managers, and more. While we are based in New York City with chapters around the country, we have 35 sister organizations around the world. And we at A2IM, we're celebrating our 15th anniversary this year. We have a membership that includes nearly 700 US-based independent record labels and 160 associate members such as Spotify, Apple, and SoundCloud. And all of today's speakers comes from A2IM member companies. While A2IM as an organization is 15, our A2IM Artist program is brand new and began in February of this year. A2IM Artist was created to help independent self-releasing artists optimize their careers. We believe that you, the creators, should be provided with valuable resources to help boost your careers and maximize revenue from your intellectual property. A2IM Artist has 2 components. One is our event series, such as today's panel, and the other is our A2IM Artist Resource Guide. Our Resource Guide is an online channel that contains critically important content such as best practices on Spotify or live streaming, how to find success on hybrid platforms such as TikTok and Instagram, and more. Our resource guide was launched last week and will be updated weekly. It's free to become an A2IM Artist member, and we encourage you to join. We'll provide the link to join throughout today's panel and at the end as well. And I'm seeing some chats that people are asking for my email address, so I will put that in the chat as well. I'd like to extend a warm thank you to our panelists, Madeline Nelson, Roland Williams, Marnie Wadner, Marcus Hollinger, and Jeremy Weisenhunt for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be here today and share your knowledge. I'd like to thank my colleagues at A2IM with a special shout out to Lisa Hresco, Alyssa Mark, Evan Plake from the membership team, and Brian Packers from the sponsorship team, who helped to curate today's incredible group of speakers. Again, thank you to Sway, thank you to your team, and thank you all for your attendees. Thank you for joining us today.
Awesome, thank you, Cheryl. All right, I do see a lot of activity. My email, somebody reposted it. Cheryl's gonna repost it later. Let's go ahead and get into introducing our speakers because we are keeping this section of the workshop to time. So first up, we have Madeline Nelson and Roland Williams. If you guys want to go ahead and come on camera, you can do that now. Hello, thank you for joining us.
Hi, happy to be here. Super excited.
Likewise, likewise. I love the background. It looks really cool over there. Roland, I see you. I see you. Thanks for showing up again. So I've only had a little bit of time to get to know you. We just had that one call before the workshop. I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce yourselves. Give us a very high level, like who you are, what got you here very briefly, and what you do for artists right now.
Okay, I can't see Roland. I'm gonna I'll go first, Roland.
Okay.
My name is Madeline Nelson. I own and operate a full service music company, and what that means is my company has an indie label, a publishing company, a management company, and a brand strategy company. So 4 companies rolled under one umbrella, all with the intention of working with artists and accelerating artists' careers. I manage Wyclef Jean and a few other artists whose names you might not know yet, but hopefully will know soon. I have several artists on the indie label, and I also distribute music for several artists who are not signed to me. That's me.
Awesome. Yes, I'm Roland Williams, and I'm with Familiar Territory Records. Our main talent is artist slash producer Zaytoven. I've been managing Zaytoven for about 15 years. The majority of what I do is artist development and project management, but we also, several years ago, we went into more of the label side, where we built a alliance with Motown for 2 years, and then after that we kind of have stayed in the release space. So that's pretty much sums it up.
Roland does a bunch of other stuff too. I hope it comes out while we're on this chat.
Yeah, he's being modest.
Yeah, he is.
All right, cool. Well, let's go ahead and jump into it. And everybody that's here, all you artists and producers and managers, if you want to just go ahead and type in the chat your role, just so we have an idea of who's here. Just say whether you're an artist, or whether you're a producer, or whether you're a manager, or some other version of, working in the music industry. Go ahead and let us know in the chat. Thanks, Kurt. Engineer, get it going. PR, nice. So we'll know who's here and who to really direct questions to. And if you have questions, we will have a formal Q&A at the end. I just want to remind you that this chat space is a safe, respectful space, and you can still go ahead and start putting your questions in there now. And if I see them, I'll get to them. But we're just going to go ahead and jump right in. So Madeline, Roland, this question is for both of you. I ask this of many mentors and people who I talk to, and yourselves, because you see so many artists and you work with so many artists. What are some of the things that you're seeing? Or we get granular about like what to do right now for COVID, in the middle of being in COVID. Like, what are some of the things that you are seeing? It grinds your gears when you see artists do this. It's just a way to get ahead. And then on the flip side of that, what are some things that you see an artist doing? You're like, this is it. That's what you need to be doing. So mistakes, I guess, and the really good things.
I think what I've been seeing lately is having to definitely pay more attention to planning and discussing things with your team, because now is a time where you can't really make as many mistakes as you might be able to when you have incomes from live, from everything that's going live and everything like now. So it's really a thing where I think in a lot of cases, some artists are excelling more just because it's so defined. And I think when you're touring, every time you go out of town, you're breaking up any kind of production or anything you can get started back at your home base. So I think you can see a lot of stuff that's being done, like a lot of in-house type business that's catching up, like, a lot of label duties and stuff like that, because everybody's there and it's like, hey, I got a stack of paperwork here. So it's like, a lot of stuff can be done for these artists, and the artists are just like, really paying attention to those type of things like monetization. They're spending more time on merch, different things of that nature.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Madeline?
I agree. So to just speak further to what Roland said, it's what I see is artists becoming even more creative than they already were. And so I agree. A big part of things is the fact that they can't really be outside They're not able to do shows. They're not able to sort of like hit the streets and promote their music in that way. And so what happens is you've got to really figure out how now to do that online and try and either be ahead of or like right on trend. Learn other platforms. One of the biggest things I always told to the artists I work with is meet people where they are. So if you have, if for just for the sake of keeping the numbers easy, if you have 100 people that are following you on YouTube and only 10 that are following you on Spotify, make sure that you're figuring out how to build the followers on Spotify, but really focus, because those 100 people following you on YouTube is your core. So really study yourself on all the platforms and figure out who your core is and play to them, because that's just only going to help your audience to grow. And so I'm seeing artists do that now. I'm seeing artists like really like focus, because they're there, they're in front of the phone or they're in front of the computer. They can't really be outside. And so, yeah, like Roland said, I see them paying much closer attention to those things now, that it's harder to do when you're moving so much.
Absolutely. So Madeline, your role, like you said, you're managing Wyclef and you worked all over the industry, it sounds like. Well, you know, like major to-dos for artists who are self-managing themselves, like people here today.
Major to-dos when you're self-managing. Wow. Okay. And let me just be honest. When I say I manage Wyclef, I love to say I try to, because Wyclef is Wyclef, right? So it kind of just means I manage the day-to-day of the life that is Wyclef. But if you are self-managing, the most important thing for you to do is educate yourself. Really, and when I say that, it's deep. You need to understand all of the things that a good manager would understand. So you need to understand publishing, and publishing is probably one of the most complicated parts of our business, because with publishing comes performing rights, becomes mechanical rights, comes copyright, so many different types of rights, things where you have to make sure that you're registered, making sure you're registered with a performing rights organization like ASCAP or BMI or CSAC, making sure that you are registered with Sound Exchange. Most young artists that I meet don't have a clue what Sound Exchange is. Many young artists that I meet, when I ask them what's their publishing, they tell me ASCAP, which means they don't really know the difference between publishing and performing rights royalties. So learn publishing. It's the most important. This is how you collect your money from all around the world. Money that you might not know you're leaving on the table if you don't understand the depths of it. And then make sure you understand master use, like the where does your master go? What do you have to do to make sure when you put your music out in the world, what's an ISRC code? Do you have to have that? When you go to get your music mastered, do you need them to embed the code in the master? Mastering music for iTunes. So education is the most important thing you can do for yourself if you're self-managing. Like, you really have to dig in, you really have to dig deep. You've got to understand all those parts of it, or you're not really managing yourself, honestly.
I like to come in and kind of reinforce what she was saying. Couple things there. You're going to have to definitely come up with some type of time management, because it's going to be a lot of work.
Yeah.
So coming into education, even if you are going to be managing yourself, you need to have a set of advisors. I would probably say 3 to 5 people that you can kind of pick their brain, email or on the DM, to kind of just get information. You want to stay kind of involved in them. You want to make sure that you follow key accounts, probably online or in LinkedIn, and kind of build your network, because a powerful manager is a manager that has a network. So you definitely have to, if you're going to do it yourself, that's going to be a separate network. But as far as the time management somehow you're going to have to keep the creative level going. And that's why it's like so important in scheduling right now. You're going to have to get into that role, but you're going to have to spend equal time, because a lot of times you'll see us get into situations where we love one part of it. So it's like the music part flourishes, but then the business falls off. So you don't want that. So you got to treat it as a more equal pie to all of your duties, and just create a lot of lists. That's the only thing else I can say about that. But what we do is have a lot of meetings, have some advisors, time management, and just kind of be consistent, because it's, remember, if you're the guy if you're the manager, if you're that manager and you didn't work that day, then that means nobody worked that day. So nothing happened. So it's got to be something that's every day, at least for, I try to tell people who try to do that, I try to say, hey, look, just start off with an hour a day or 30 minutes a day. You got 24 hours in a day. So let's just start. If you're going to do this, start off with an hour or two a day and then build like that. Don't try to put a huge burden on yourself at first. Try to ease into the job.
Absolutely. I see a lot of people too are asking questions, and some people are answering them in the chat. So that's amazing. Time management is a skill I had to learn, and many artists have to. So what you said about just start with 1 hour, and get that together really well, and then expand to 2 and then 4 and then a whole day. So that's great advice. Roland, I know right now a lot of artists are at tour, but placements are still happening. Songs are still getting, written, and a lot is still happening behind the scenes. So can you speak a little bit about, the role of the A&R, mystifying that a little bit for us? What should an artist do who, maybe wants to write hooks for another artist, or has songs that they just want to hand off to an A&R? They be preparing themselves to approach you in the right way and to be heard, and not just, be another in the inbox.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. I try to answer as many emails as possible, just because I know that those stars are in those emails somewhere, and it's happened in the past. And so you don't ever want to, I never, no matter who I'm working with, I never write off an independent artist. So like, I'm always going to be looking for that. I think that's one of our roles. So we are looking. What we would like to see is probably like a well-labeled email, and I like to get everything in one email. Links are cool. I think several options of links, because, an A&R might be a Spotify A&R, so he's just going to like check going to go to Spotify. He's going to, look at the monthly listeners. He's going to look at the, and he can access all the sounds on a platform that he's familiar with. Getting it in the email, that's cool too, or links, or, some type of play link that's going to play in the email without having to download it. And I think what we're going to be looking for is just a package, a solid EPK. I still like websites. I'm a big fan of websites. One of our strongest things with managing Zaytoven over the years has been the website. The website has made millions of dollars. Even if only so many thousand people visit the website a week, you got to think executives, labels, brands, big brands, they're going to still want to see everything in one place. I think that the website and the EPK is good for an A&R to see it all at one time. He can see the press kit. He can see the website. If the press kit is impressive enough, he can at least go to the website and see everything in one place and not really take up a lot of time in their day. And by doing that, a lot of times artists, a lot of times those artists are going to be able to, they will be able to see what they got too. Cause it's like a lot of times you put a site together and you're either going to be like, dang, I got a lot of stuff going on. Or either you're going to be like, oh, okay, it's only like 2 or 3 items on here, or okay, now I see I need merch. I need it right now. So, and those are the things you don't want to wait till later to have, because if an A&R comes and you have a couple pieces of merch to send out, you have have a good set of links, or, inside in there, a good photo shoot, and then you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to take them serious. and it's all about the image, and it's all about, from there, kind of like they're going to look at everything. So it's like, if you see, I know some of the new things as an A&R that are pretty big for us is if you see an artist that's not really posting, they have potential, but it might be something, it might not, you go and they got 3 picks. So now you know that those socials aren't going to be a place for you to really be able to market because they're not really posting a lot. Or a lot of times I'll watch how artists is, a lot of major artists, I'll watch how they post on other projects to see how, and everybody talks together as a community of A&R. So, you might say, hey, look, I'm working with, such and such. And they're like, hey, look, I work with them, but, on the social side, there was no support. So it's like, now, as a label, you coming in straight on ads or something like that. Like, that's not even going to help you. Or you might be able to structure the ads to that. So they're looking at things that are going to make it easy for them to work with you and go get more money for you or whatever, whatever the situation might be.
Absolutely. Madeline, did you have anything you wanted to add to that, what Roland was saying?
No, just that, I mean, he really said it all. And I just love that he mentioned that artists should try to have some level of completion when they start presenting themselves. So just having the patience and taking the time to get all your pieces together. That website piece is super important because I hear a lot of young people say nobody looks at websites anymore, but we do, we all really do, because it is that one place where you can see everything. And when you see an artist, like Roland said, that's already got merch, that's got their links in order, really got their stuff in order, it stands out. Honestly, sometimes the music might not stand out as much as somebody else, but the level of work ethic that you see in this artist could make the difference in you thinking about working with them. So it's very important to just have the patience and take the time to get your stuff together before you present it.
Definitely. So along those lines of artists getting themselves together before they start presenting, what can they do for free? Obviously we know Detroit was one of the hardest hit cities by the COVID-19 pandemic, and a lot of things changed very quickly for everybody here. So, artists didn't have as many resources as they needed at the beginning and even now, but they have their phones, they have Instagram, and later today we're going to have a marketing panel where we'll have somebody from Twitch on talking about how to monetize any content they're producing. But what are your thoughts on, what, after we end this webinar at 2:00, Eastern time, what's something that they could do today with their phone or with their audience that you would probably tell one of your clients to do? Some way to engage, some marketing tip, some way to put the music out.
Okay, so things you can do for free. So to me, social media is obvious, right? But it's not as simple as posting. Now, everybody watching is probably much younger than I am, and they might know all of these things already, but I even had to learn. When it comes to social media, when you start talking about marketing and promoting yourself, there's layers and levels which you have to dig. So I was taught by somebody amazing. So let's take Twitter and Instagram were the first 2 platforms he taught me this on. I had to go in, I had to look at who was following me, right? So there's authentic people. Maybe at the time there was like, I don't know, like maybe 5,000 people. Look at the people who are following me. Make sure that even if I'm not going to follow everybody back, make sure that I am engaging with them somehow. If I'm just liking things on their page or commenting on their page, and then the people who are following me, paying attention to what their interests are. So by paying attention to what their interests are, it helps me to be able to seek out other pages where I can do the same thing, where I can like and when I can comment, because people notice who's liking and commenting. They are going to turn around and check your page out, like, who's this person? 1 out of 10 might end up following you. But if you're doing this often enough, you're going to have 10 out of 100, and then you're going to have 100 out of 1,000. So they call it, it's called data mining, right? So you're basically mining your own data. You're looking at your followers on all these platforms. You're figuring out what their likes are. So when you do get to the point of being able to buy ads and promote your posts, then you've actually figured out who the audience for that is based on who your followers are and what other things they follow and what other things they like. So that is something you can do for free. It's a little bit tedious, but just taking the time to figure out who your core is. So then when you can figure out who your core is on one platform, you can seek the same type of people out on the other platform. So you move on to the next platform, and you also pay attention to what kind of engagement your different posts get. So then you know what is pleasing to your audience, and you can give more of that. If you get the most amount of attention when you're posting because you're singing or playing an instrument, then you should know to play more to that. If you get more attention when you just post a selfie, then do more of that. But really digging in and doing the actual data mining of your social media, doing the tedious work, checking out the locations of where most of your people are from. And then with the digital platforms, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, even Pandora all have a for artists feature. So get your for artists features going if you haven't done that yet. So, and all of them, including Amazon, still in beta, but I've been playing around with it and it's really good. Their analytics are incredible. But that tells you where the most people are listening to your music around the world. It tells you by country, it tells you by city. That again also informs the ways you can market and promote yourself. So all of these tools are free. And honestly, you can even figure out, and I don't know which ones are out there, but I do know that they're out there. You can build websites for free as well. And without even having to know how to code. So these are all things, and especially now in this time, that you can do for free to market and promote yourself.
Awesome. First, I had to take some notes from Madeline. That's one thing you do to stay ahead is you're always, I mean, we're always listening. I've already picked up like 4 or 5 different key things that she said. And I wanted to just kind of reinforce some of the stuff where she said, we're going to go back to planning. You can't do stuff for free if you don't plan. Some of the other things that you're going to be able to do for free is, I would say, just plan your releases a lot more ahead of time, because you could give yourself 3 to 4 weeks just on Spotify, with Spotify and Apple, and that's going to give you a whole nother tool of playlisting. I know a lot of people are paying to do playlisting, but I really don't suggest that, because I mean, I've actually done that myself too, and I've watched what it does for the record. So it's like, you got to be careful on that. The tool is amazing though. The playlisting tool is amazing. What they're looking for, just tailor what they're looking for. Just remember, you got to remember on your music, think about what are they looking for? What's going to make that successful? So that's what's going to save you money. Let's see. I know she said, I wanted to say something about Spotify, and then you were talking about on the socials, as far as, I think what's important, what she was talking about there was creating opportunities. If you're in different conversations through your artist account on Instagram, what you're doing is creating opportunities. I really personally suggest maxing out your socials every day. I think the max DMs on IG is about 50 a day. I think 50 DMs a day. I think that if you do that, you're going to find different opportunities, because there might be brands that could get, that you can make money off of. There might be different places that that might offer to put your music on if they see certain work ethics out of you too. So I think focusing and having coming up with a good plan and a good release schedule. And when somebody asks you when you plan on releasing, being able to present a whole plan. I just dealt with an independent artist in New York, and it was quite impressive. And they were kind of working me because I asked them what their plan was, because they were like, hey, look, they were interested. And I was like, well, what have you done? I wasn't expecting a PDF file of like all the recent interviews and everything. I was like, okay, yeah, you've done this, done that already. But doing stuff like that is like, oh, okay, you got a real team behind you. You got real management. So like little steps like that, you will make people take you more serious. And a lot of little stuff, I would say, also, I would definitely suggest like a Linktree link with like all your hottest links, or your website link. That's free, free. And then they have different levels of other accounts. But like we use a lot of stuff like that. And we're always constantly changing to like the trendy stuff, because you got to watch the trends. Because right now, Linktree is popular. But, in a couple months, it might be something else. So you just kind of watch the trends and watch what people like to open, and do lots of searches online, because Google going to tell you everything, right, at the end of the day.
Yeah. And Roland, you touched on something, and just want to expand on it a little bit, because when you talk about planning, and I love, like, and each time you speak, you're talking about planning and about the timeline. And I think that's so crucial. But a big piece of it also is what I find a lack of often is a storyline, right? So what is the meaning of your project, right? So it's and in Spotify for artists, when you work with that playlisting tool that you mentioned, Roland, they actually ask you to tell them the story, only in a few characters, but but they want to know the story. So also just taking the time as part of your preparation to make sure that there is a narrative, that there is a story for people to follow, where you've come from to now, and how you want to put that across, whether it's coming across in the music or just you wanted to come across with who you are as an artist. Make sure that that's something that you're just always like very ready to talk about. Like, why should somebody want to dig into your project? Who are you?
And I think it's easy too, when you talk about the story, it's very easy to make assets in the studio, like little pieces, like 30-second and 1-minute pieces, or even longer for IGTV or YouTube. That should be pretty cheap to do. That's something free that you could push. And then once you have that release, set up a folder with everything in one place, an asset folder.
Yeah.
For free on Google. What are we gonna do? Google Drive. Do a Google Drive folder. Make sure that it's got an open link. Test it. Put all your assets in there. Put your cover and your clean and your dirty in there. Mixes. Maybe even have a DJ set you up a intro version in there, depending. And that would be something that I would send out in my DMs and send out in my emails. And I just kind of like set it up where it's nice and clean and simple, not too much talking.
Definitely. Just get straight to it. Okay, we got some questions coming in. I have one. Right now, obviously, it is still a global pandemic. I think the summer kind of, calmed us a little. It made things seem a little bit better, but this is still happening all over the world. And I know I've talked with a lot of artists who are, they don't want to put out music right now, or they feel it's not a good time because people are out of work, or people are sick, or because it is a global pandemic. Can you speak a little to, of continuing art right now, and also, some strategies to do that, being mindful of what's going on, but still releasing?
I will speak only from my own personal thought process about this, because I understand people's sensibilities about it and their sensitivities about it. I have encouraged everyone I work with to continue to put out music. And the reason I've done that is because one of the first things I saw when this pandemic started, when we were really shut down on quarantine, was how people were gravitating to the music things that were happening online. So how they were gravitating to D-Nice, Club Quarantine, how they up to like 1 million people at one point, how they were gravitating to the verses that were going on, the competitions that were going on with verses. So it just made me feel like music heals. Sorry. I've always known that music heals, but it was a reminder that music heals. And it's something that people have access to. So they don't have access to being outside anymore. They don't, many people have access to being able to even go to work. But they've access to music. And for many, many people, music is therapy. For so many people, music is actually how they get through their day. I personally can't work unless I have some kind of music in the background. So for me, I just felt like it was important to continue to get your music out there. I've got one artist, all her music is about what's happening with race relations in America right now. So certainly, I wanted her to be able to put her music out. Most of the music Wyclef has put out lately has been the same thing about what's happening with race relations. But I've got an artist who, he's a Latin artist, and he's made this song that's about love. And the thing is going crazy on YouTube and Spotify right now, but the reason is that because it's a theme of love. And this is a time for a song like that. It's called Enamorados. And there's this whole video thing happening where you're putting two people's hands are doing the love symbol. And so I understand not feeling this is the right time, just in my personal opinion. And I think back to stories I heard about when the country was in a recession and things like that, and the only thing that was making money was music. I just believe it's because music heals. Music is therapy, and it's something that one of the few things you're able to access when you're not able to access much more.
Yeah, I'll just give a couple. That was some really great advice there. Real excited.
Thank you, Matt.
Just give a couple advice on some of it, or some of the experiences I experienced. I had a lot of. I saw a lot of brands that wanted to be real cautious about what they were going to do, or what they were going to release, especially like say a lot of brands that might offer service. So like a lot of like cell phone, in the cell phone community. Because it's like we were doing a contest with Cricket at the time that it first started. And it's like, part of it was like scheduled, 3 days into everything was going on. And you should have read the comments. It was like probably like, I want to say 25,000 comments about bills, about people who actually, had bills, and they were like, what are y'all going to do about the bills and stuff like that. So that's the stuff you're reading in this thing that, this real cool Cricket thing that was about music. And then we kind of got lucky. We had dropped a project called A2IM with Lil Yachty and Lil Keed. And I was trying to shoot a video, and the video was like, the budget was just going up like $40,000-$50,000 at the end of the day. And then it was already, we were already having some scheduling problems. So I ended up saying, hey, I want to do an animated video. And the animated video was being worked on. So it was done maybe 2 weeks into the pandemic. And so we were able to drop something that made sense, and we already had it ready because we had already been working on it for like 6 weeks. So we kind of got lucky with that. And then we dropped a lot of instrumental projects on Spotify. We dropped projects that were just like, one day Zay just woke up and was like, hey, look, I'm just gonna do a project today. I'm gonna record an album, and that was I Think I Can Rap. That was the name of it. And so it was just like, we just dropped some stuff that was just like, hey, look, this is us sitting around the house or whatever. And then we did drop a record called Blackout, just as a response to everything that with the brutality. That was, you know, a lot of times Zay will speak, you know, he speaks through the beat, and then the artist will speak, you know, through their thing. So we're just able to kind of stay relevant with those pieces. And then outside of that, we've still been, you know, dropping stuff strategically, but also monitoring what's going on with other artists and other releases. And I think everybody's, you know, you are seeing, you know, a ton of like music like that. I feel like before nobody was paying attention to, especially like a Wyclef. I mean, he's always got powerful stuff that he's saying. So he was already talking about this stuff. So, you know, so it's like a lot of guys you seeing that they're paying attention to that. And I think it's smart for artists to do music like that too, because, you know, the platforms are showing love. I mean, we were able to get, you know, we had this song Blackout, and it ended up getting picked up on a ton of like BLM playlists and editorial playlists. So, you know, that could be, you know, you can get some free marketing by paying attention to what's going on. And that's what music is supposed to be about, though. Like at the end of the day, whatever's going on should affect the music. Like it should make everything different. It's going to have a different sound.
I actually had a conversation with Wyclef because I was asking him about, you know, thinking about like Marvin Gaye and Wyclef and those who historically made these songs, you know, that were like just really for the times. And as we hear those songs today, we know exactly what time in history they were made and what they were about. I was asking him, what does he think about the young people now who are making songs like that? There's Trey Songz, and there's her, and there's Anderson .Paak, and there's this like whole group of young people that I feel very, very proud of, who are doing that. And I loved what he said to me. He said, the only difference really is that they're this generation and they're speaking for what's happening to them, just like he was speaking for what was happening in his, and Marvin Gaye was speaking for what was happening in his. And I love that response because, you know, I saw a couple of people, the question came up about how important it is to remain creative. This is the most crucial time, you know, what it's for real creatives. And the reason I just love young creatives so much is what pours out of them is exactly what's like happening in their head and like what's happening in their world and in the world in general. So I just would encourage, let it out there, put it out there.
I think we're frozen.
I think so. Can you hear me, Roland? Oh, there we are.
Yep.
It kind of got a little sticky for a moment there. I do, and no, but I think you guys are making some really excellent points, and to kind of like tie in everything that you're saying is to, you know, be strategic, monitor what other artists are doing. Music heals, be authentic, you know, talk about the times or not, but just, you know, if you're going to put out music right now, plan ahead, you know, and do it well, even if you don't have a lot of resources to do so. We do have questions. Let's see. There was one here from Liz Cleveland. It's a little bit about Spotify playlisting already, and we only have about 5 more minutes, you guys, so let's make these responses kind of rapid fire. But he's asking about what can she do, you know, regarding Spotify playlists, even, you know, without paying, say, Roland, or without using Spotify's pitching tool. And do you have any campaign recommendations, creator marketplace, anything, you know, what you think she should be doing on Spotify and on really?
Go ahead.
So her question is, what can she do without using Spotify playlisting? I missed that.
Yeah, basically, I think she's already aware of that.
To get on other playlists?
Yeah.
So I would say some of the good playlists that you could probably contact the people directly would be, there's a lot of DJ crews out there that have
Yeah.
playlists. Those are good to get on. They might not seem like they have a lot of people on them, but there's certain places, certain people are following them. And then there's a lot of restaurants that will use a DJ's playlist. So you
Yeah.
can basically, hashtag and find that stuff. There's I know Coalition DJs has a lot of cities that have playlists in each city. Nerve DJs. I'll put this stuff in the chat too as well. Nerve. Some other big ones would be like Core DJs. Those are like crews that have DJs from coast to coast, and just kind of reach out and just search for curators and different curators, and you can go to Hip Hop DX and allhiphop.com. I know that's on the hip hop side. I'm not sure what type of music she does, but I mean, every genre of music has their music curators to just kind of find out who's leading the way. And I know that's been a conversation. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Madeline. I forgot we only had 5 minutes.
I just wanted to say, because this is also super important, and I feel like artists underestimate this. The followers, your followers, since we're talking specifically about Spotify, this is crucial. Here's what happens. When you put out a release, the release radar for your followers hits, and they see that you put that release out, and now they can go listen to it. But the thing is, you have to build those followers up. There are many ways you can do that. Let me tell you what I tell my artists. You have a phone, you have people you talk to every day and sometimes only every month. Contact every single person in your phone book and ask them to follow you on all the platforms, wherever they're listening. Like, don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed to do that. Your friends, your family, everybody that does and should support you, hit them up and say, follow me. When you get those numbers up, you automatically get more people being aware of your music coming out on the day it comes out. So then that helps with the numbers. So even if you didn't instantly get playlisted because you used the tool, when you have people following you that are listening, that are putting you on their playlist, at some point you have the potential to hit a certain algorithm in the platform, and then that's when you start getting playlisted and you start growing. So again, something for free that you can do is try to build your following. That's just as important as using the pitching tool for playlisting, honestly.
And one more thing just to add on that, can't be no more important than that right there. You have to build it, because you got to think, every time you release, you don't want to have to go ask this person, that person, and the other person to do something, and you don't have any resources that you can do in-house. If you have 50,000 followers on Spotify, now you starting with 50,000 people getting a message from you. So you want to build all that stuff up, and definitely build some type of email list too. Let's just throw that in there. But you need an email list too.
Oh, I'm glad you said that, because I thought about that early on. It's so important to be able to email people what's happening with you. Yeah.
Definitely.
Awesome. We got a couple more questions. I want to squeeze these in because these are some good ones. This one, maybe if you guys just have one major that they can do. So somebody asked about, I think asked about financial planning for newer artists. Now that's a big topic. So let's just say they have a small budget. Something to work with right now this week. What's the number one area where you think they should put that resource that they have?
Oh, small. That's a tough. I'm thinking of 10 places. But where I would honestly tell my artists is in the creation of the music.
Make great
I'm on
music.
the other side, so I'm assuming that the music is created, and I got $250 left. So I guess I'll get some. I'll spend $10 a day, or maybe like $5 a day on ads, on IG ads, probably.
Yeah.
I'm just going to try to stretch it and just come up with something where I'd rather spend a little bit every day than just like, okay, $100 in ads this week. So I know if we did $5 a day, that would take us to 100. That'd take us to 30 days just on $150.
I agree.
And then I don't know. You think of anything else, Madeline? You could put $50 on. What could you put $50 on?
We still apply spending a small amount a day on building the ads, and it really works.
It does.
Really, really works. Another thing is and honestly, I don't know if there's a free tier, so I apologize if there's not, but Feature FM has proven to be an amazing tool. Anybody who has not heard of Feature FM, take a look at it. An incredible tool for young artists to be able to get all of their music links in one place when they're pushing it out, but it also allows you to do a bunch of other really fun stuff, create action pages for your followers and things like that. I just can't remember if there's a free tier, so I apologize for that. But if I had that $250, I would spend on Feature FM is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, I gotta go check it out.
Yeah, Roland, you are gonna love Feature FM. Yeah.
I'm on it.
Roland, it seems like we need to be working together.
I know. We need to do a call today.
Look at that. We got artists connecting in the chat. We got the panelists connecting in the conversation. I love it. Okay, somebody says, what about a $4,000 budget? I'll tell you guys this. With that question, it really just depends on where. There is a rule of thumb, to marketing, 35% to creation, 15% to miscellaneous, but you can move those numbers around however you like. But those are the kinds of things where get really granular. Then you want to call and set up an appointment with myself or our Cleveland or our Milwaukee director to really get some one-on-one feedback on things like that. Lastly, we've talked about building, but I think it makes sense to close with this because we talked about being organized, planning what is possible. We're talking to self-managed artists, so they may not have a team. But someone's question is, how important is it to have a team? How large does your team have to be? We know it's important to have a team, but what are some, like the one key role you can grab your friend and help me do?
I think that, are we locked in? Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay, I think everybody can hear us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think that when it comes to, how important, I'm reading the question. How important is team when you're meeting an emerging artist? I think having the right resources for this emerging artist is the most important part of it. So I think if I'm understanding the question correctly, I think it's basically just saying,
Hey,
you're displaying something to the artist in order to get that client. I'm not sure if that's what they're asking.
Hey everyone, looks like we lost Sway again. Yeah, hard to say exactly what that question was saying. It's not in the Q&A anymore. But taking a look at the time, why don't we take a few seconds here and pause, and then we'll introduce the next set of panelists. But in the meantime, I do want to say thank you to both of you for joining us this morning, and obviously stick around if you'd like. And we'll cool. Yeah, well.
Thank you so much, Madeline. Thank you so much, Roland.
Thank
hey,
you.
this guy
Super
wants
pleasure.
to say hi to the
Where's
kids
the
in
kids at,
accelerator.
yo?
What's up?
What up with y'all? Y'all good?
Yes, sir.
All right, just want to say hi to everybody. Keep inspiring the world. For those who don't know this lovely chocolate face, my name's Wyclef Jean, not Wyclef Jean, Wyclef Jean. Excited about y'all. What's up?
That's Sway.
What's up? You good?
That's so cool. We had a celebrity, y'all.
Yo, this what you call Zoom crash.
Yeah, I see.
Like I'm crashing it, but definitely, Maddie was telling me what y'all was doing, so I just wanted to congratulate y'all. And the advice that I could give y'all, when I was getting in the game as a young Fuji, like back when I was a young man, one of the things they didn't tell us was how vast the idea of the music industry is. And I want y'all to grasp that from the aspect of business, the aspect of you don't have to just be on a billboard. You could be scoring movies and making more money than actually being on a billboard. And the idea of making sure that you own your rights. And at the end of the day, that's probably like the most important thing. So at 50 years old, I'm chilling, I'm comfortable. Why? Because when Shakira's at the Super Bowl and she's singing, "Hey girl, I can see your body," I'm chilling in the theater and I'm getting paid. When DJ Khaled is going bump, 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 I'm like, you better pay me for that. So don't give up your rights. Make sure that you own whatever you are supposed to own, because it might look fly when you like real young and you spending a lot of money, but your real estate is going to be based on what y'all create, and make sure that y'all don't give it away. So I look forward to y'all keeping Uncle Wyclef cool, and I just want y'all to know I love y'all, okay? Blessings.
Amazing.
And now we got to go work on a podcast.
Awesome.
All right. Well,
Thank you.
again. Thanks again. We'll follow up after if there's any specific connections we can make. Otherwise, it's been great and awesome to see Wyclef there at the end.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Take care.
Thank you, Sway, so much.
So much. I apologize about my internet. It's the worst today. I don't know why. But thank you so much for input. This was amazing. And I'm sure the artists got a lot from this. And this is why we do this, to help them and to give them the tools they need. So thank you.